Our honoree is the 20th president of St. Bonaventure University, a native of Pittsburgh. She has served as teacher in such far-off places as the Philippines, Italy, Ireland, England, Japan, even Canada. Closer to home, she was the first woman religious appointed to the position of vicar for religious in the Diocese of Pittsburgh. And she has served as the executive director of Pennsylvanians for Human Life. She also understands the joys and challenges from serving as a major superior in her religious community. She was the first woman to receive a doctoral degree in theology from the Franciscan University in Rome. Her leadership has been recognized by both male and female extensions of the Franciscan order around the world on both the scholarly and the pastoral levels. A world-renowned Franciscan scholar, she served on an international committee charged with the writing the Rule of Life for the brothers and sisters of the Third Order Regular Franciscans, approved by Pope John Paul II in 1983. While she's well known as a major architect in strategic planning at her university and has been recognized also as a primary influence in the Franciscan intellectual tradition, it may be hard to believe that she brings with her valuable first-hand experience as a teacher at the primary and the secondary level. Some experts would say that no one person can cover such a wide swath in education, but she has. She's established the Damietta Center, a multicultural center that celebrates the diversity of the campus community and provides cultural, intellectual, spiritual enrichment. Diversity enrollment has climbed steadily for the last 3 years at St. Bonaventure. Our honoree brings to the contemporary educational field a model for engaging with the world as it is. St. Francis of Assisi demonstrated the value of the dialogue of religious experience, where persons rooted in their own religious traditions share their spiritual riches, for instance, with regard to prayer and contemplation, faith, and ways of searching for God. We have been honored to know her as a friend from her first years as a Franciscan sister, and it has almost been a familial delight for her Benedictine brothers in a trobe to say that we are friends with such a stellar example of what one person can do in one lifetime, all the while serving both the people of God and the common good, and to do it so well. Saint Vincent College is among the 200-plus Catholic colleges and universities in the United States, and so it came as a special privilege to say that we have a personal relationship with the newly appointed board chair of the Association of Catholic Colleges and Universities, a position which she now holds with distinction. In addition, she serves as chair of the Association of Franciscan Colleges and Universities and acts as a consultant to the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops on Catholic Education. For her lifelong pursuit of seeing God in all times and circumstances, for building sturdy bridges between the people of God and our pluralistic culture, for inspiring us from her Franciscan tradition to live up to the charisms that have been bestowed on each of us, for her merciful-hearted concern for the least, and for inspiring people to be their best, St. Vincent College holds in honor and proudly confers upon Sister Margaret Carney of the Order of St. Francis the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, this 25th day of April 2012.
Father Earl, Brother President Norman, faculty and students of Saint Vincent's College, my heart's deepest thanks. In addition to that list of reasons for inviting me here today, I must say that the reception of this degree brings a part of my family full circle, for I am joined here today by my brother Edmund Carney and my sister Sheila Carney, both of whom received St. Vincent degrees long before mine. And my dear friend, Sister Barbara Jean Donovan, niece of the late Archabbot Egbert Donovan, whose memory and that of Father Paul Kalis I remember well today. The other thing that I think links our two universities, our two campuses, St. Bonaventure and St. Vincent, is that we have much in common. Both were founded in the middle of the 19th century by missionary priests who were considered courageous by their fans, crazy by their foes, and are charismatic in the pages of Catholic history. Both campuses boast a visceral commitment to the liberal arts and a constant search for ways to join other fields of study to that critical foundation. Both take pride in an ancient religious pedigree, Benedictine, Franciscan. Yours the older by 700 years, but who's counting? And in a marvelous twist of historic good luck, St. Bonaventure University was host to training camp for the Steelers for years before you were. The Bonnies lost them, the Bearcats kept them. I salute you, Bearcats. For weeks, American moviegoers have been smashing box office records with attendance at the Hunger Games. Suzanne Collins' novel-turned-film is rapidly taking over a niche once held by blockbusters like Titanic, Lord of the Rings, and Harry Potter. As many of you know, I trust, the narrative centers on a future country called Panem, where a huge rebellion has been crushed and its terrified survivors hounded into submission by the capital politic. The strategy for this totalitarian success is the annual conduct of the Hunger Games. In these Darwinian, high-tech, televised survival spectacles, youngsters from the various districts of the land are selected in a grim lottery to battle each other to bloody death. These grisly contests claim the flower of Panem's youth and keep the other citizens frightened and compliant. The fast-paced violence is offset by the cartoon-like qualities used to designate the verve and visual excess of the different social classes. When I first read about the film, I was really curious, and I wanted to learn about its attraction for our students. And so off I took myself to our local movie theater, where it didn't take me long to get hooked myself. The heroine, Katniss Everdeen, comes from the bottom rung of Panem society. District 12 mimics the hard coal regions of our own Appalachia. But she confronts the powerful elite with a combination of simple, humane bravery, her skill as huntress, and unblinking clarity about the soulless system in which she is trapped. As I thought a lot about what was making the Hunger Games so popular and reflected on my own fascination by it, I came to understand that perhaps, and I stress perhaps, the result of the extraordinary pressures we face and our students face in the task of reaching their destination of a college degree or the other life goals we creates a sympathetic bond with the young gladiators of this movie. Of course, the brutal competition depicted in the Hunger Games is obscene and exaggerated, but it might be true that as we construct the challenges of the race to the finish line in our own schools and workplaces, we too are creating a path that demands a profoundly competitive spirit, a desire for superiority that can, if we are not careful, become obsessive, and where we fail to recognize how difficult is our demand to balance self-serving and selfless goals and the maintenance of ethical and moral imperatives. While we strive for community in our colleges, we are also always inviting, in fact demanding of each other, faculty, students, and staff, a series of contests in a succession of sought-after prizes. The exploitation of the tributes, as the game's contestants are called, is repelling. But I have found myself asking ever since I saw the film, is it trying to warn us about the shadow side of our quests for supremacy in any of life's endeavors? Your Benedictine motto, pray and work. Our Franciscan motto, peace and good. But we know how to go to battle for our prizes. And our prizes are of a different sort. High SATs in the incoming class, championships for our athletic teams, good fellowships and the best juried publications for our faculty members, 5-star reports from Middle States, LEED certification for our buildings, top ranks from U.S. News and World Report, and any kind of Google Analytics you can name. Do I advocate abandoning this necessary evil of competition to be our best? Not at all. I plead guilty. But I simply point out that it is really difficult to balance ego and agape in this race of life. Might it be that each constituency in our colleges has its own Hunger Games moments in trying to keep up with the pressure? I have explored this reflection that has haunted me since the lights went up in the local movie theater, but so that I could provide to you today with great relief my conviction that the opposite obtains here. We have come here this afternoon to celebrate the outcomes of many contests and competitions and exercises. We are here to honor a cornucopia of wonderful awards, achievements, and honors for students and faculty and staff. And celebrate we must. It is my privilege to put into words on everyone's behalf the awe that you have all inspired today, the happiness we feel for you and with you. But I also have the pleasure and obligation of affirming to all within hearing that the rules of engagement for winning these awards at Saint Vincent College are the very opposite of fictional panem. After all, we give these awards in a sacred space, not a sports arena. And the rules of engagement here are burnished by the luster of centuries-old Benedictine commitments to civilizing the worst instincts that reside sometimes in the human heart of ignorance and aggression, to the cultivation of everything we need for life, from rocky soil to raucous seniors, to preserving intellectual resources and at the same time giving heartfelt pastoral service, and above all, to never forgetting the primacy of the human's need to bow in worship before our Maker as an antidote to the drive to be worshiped for what I make. Surely at times in your journey to this hour, you've tasted the lash of extreme pressure. You've flaunted nature's laws with all-nighters and those ubiquitous energy drinks. You've sweated the details of mastering algorithms, ablative absolutes, the mysteries of antimatter and allegory. Or you've made that shot, that goal, that catch that turned you into a team icon or the best published poet on the campus. And perhaps, seniors particularly, most rewarding of all, you've come to that hour when you see a look in your professor's eye, You catch the tone in your teacher's voice that tells you, you have arrived, your work matters. If you're a faculty member, you know very well that the myth of the ivory tower went out with high-button shoes. You have won your awards by juggling teaching, advising, endless rounds of committee meetings, family or religious duties, all to continue to excel in your research, your growth in pedagogy, your leadership obligations. And I am sure you have done this, as my own colleagues on my campus do, with a generosity that takes my breath away, because it is your solemn obligation to improve and lift up the noble art of teaching that is the burden and blessing of those of us who love that vocation. All over the United States, in weeks to come, ceremonies like this will take place. But here, the ceremony takes on a light that is unique for its being rooted here. Westmoreland County, Latrobe, Route 30, Fraser Purchase Road. This place has about it a wonderful particularity. It is centered in a monastic community now spanning 3 centuries of presence and an entrepreneurial zeal for Catholic education. But this place is also portal to the world. Blessed by the nuns of Eichstatt who labored here for years, touched by its missionary presence in Beijing and Taiwan, in Vinhedo outside São Paulo. It remembers those Sisters of Mercy from Carlo Island who were here to welcome those bearded Bavarians in the early days. In this confluence of centered energy and zealous outreach, this campus is, what T.S. Eliot once reminded us, here and everywhere, a still point in our turning world. This still point will anchor your life if you choose, and I urge you to choose. In so choosing, you enter a stream of life that weaves past and present in an endless procession of providential gifts. While the colossus of Boniface Wimmer towers over all, each generation advances its own inimitable contribution, remembering his words, forward, always forward. Our adversity is God's opportunity. Boniface would tell you, in God's good plan, the odds are always in your favor. Some years ago, Ronald Tranquillia wrote in an essay about this place. It is April. The seniors are restless. The trees in Malvenplatz reach upward toward the light, their branches spiked with buds, about to break into leaf yet another year. Here we know our history is actually less important than its living heritage, a tradition of extravagant faith and outrageous hope. You, very fortunate members of this community, this school of service, service of God, service of the neighbor, service of the nation, Godspeed you in your life of extravagant faith and outrageous hope. Thank you.